A very good morning to Miss Khan and my fellow friends. Today, Usna, Suzu, and myself will be presenting about the issues and challenges related to level of proficiency of English grammar in the Malaysian schools. Let's begin. Now, let's begin with CEFR levels. This framework is a standardized tool used to measure language proficiency across the world. It's a structured way to describe language ability on a scale from A1 for beginners and C2 for advanced learners. This scale helps learners, educators, and employers to understand and compare language skill consistently. For example, at A1, learners can handle very basic expressions and interactions. By C2, learners are proficient enough to understand complex texts and communicate fluently in diverse contexts. Overall, the CEFR table serves as a valuable reference for setting learning goals, assessing progressive, and communicating language skills globally. Now, I will be discussing evaluation of grammar awareness across four language skills, which are listening, speaking, reading, and writing. Grammar awareness is crucial in language learning, but its role and challenges differ depending on the context. Now, let's start with listening first. Grammar awareness in listening is primarily passive as it involves recognizing grammatical structures to understand spoken language. For example, identifying tenses, conjunctions, or prepositions help listeners grasp the speaker's meaning and connect ideas. To improve grammar awareness in listening, learners need consistent exposure to authentic audio materials and practice in recognizing grammar within context. And for speaking, grammar awareness is active as it requires real time application of grammar rules to communicate accurately. This includes correct use of tenses, subject verb agreement, and proper sentence structure, which are essential for expressing ideas clearly and fluently. To enhance grammar awareness in speaking, learners need opportunities for spontaneous conversations, regular practice, and constructive feedback to strike between a balance between fluency and accuracy. Now, let's look at reading. Grammar awareness in reading is analytical. It helps readers interpret complex sentences, understand passage structures, and identify relationship between ideas such as cause and effect. This skill is particularly crucial for academic and professional writing. Reading materials often expose learners to a wide range of grammar forms, but learners may struggle to connect these forms with overall meaning if they focus too much on individual grammar points. And finally, for writing. Grammar awareness in writing is explicit, requiring learners to produce grammatically accurate sentences that are clear, coherent, and precise. Writing also demands higher accuracy than speaking because written errors are more noticeable and impactful. To develop grammar awareness in writing, learners should engage in regular practice with detailed feedback focusing on both accuracy and coherence. In conclusion, grammar awareness plays a unique role in each skill. In listening and reading, it's about recognition and comprehension, whereas in speaking and writing, it's about application and production. By addressing the specific challenges of each skill, Adopting integrated learning approaches, we can help learners use grammar effectively in all aspects of language. Now, let's continue with the challenges faced by Malaysian primary school students in learning English grammar due to their diverse linguistic backgrounds. In Malaysian primary schools, students come from various linguistic backgrounds including Bahasa Malaysia Malay, Mandarin, Tamil, and local dialect like Kelantanese or Penang Malay. These differences impact how they learn English grammar. As highlighted by Chia and Go, students from these different linguistic backgrounds often struggle with English due to the contrasting grammatical structures of their first languages. For example, Mandarin does not use articles like a or the, which are essential for English grammar. A Mandarin speaking student might say, I have book instead of I have a book. Similarly, Tamil doesn't have subject verb agreement rules like English. A Tamil speaking student may say, he eats instead of he eats. Even for students who speak Bahasa Malaysia, and regional dialect can pose challenges. Dialects like Kelantanese or Penang Malay have different grammar and vocabulary from the standardized Bahasa Malaysia that taught in schools. This can make it harder for students to transition from their home language to the formal language of instruction, affecting their understanding of English grammar. These linguistic differences often result in common errors such as incorrect usage of article, subject verb agreement, and sentence structure. As Chia and Go point out, these challenges can slow down students' progress and impact their confidence in using English correctly. In conclusion, the diverse linguistic backgrounds of Malaysian students present challenges for English grammar learning. Understanding these differences allows teachers to better support students and help them overcome these barriers. By addressing these challenges, we can ensure that all students have a better chance of mastering English regardless of their first language.
Okay, thank you, Divya, for the explanations. Moving on to the second issues or challenges in teaching English grammar, specifically in levels of proficiency in primary schools. So, the second issue is mother tongue interference. What is mother tongue interference? Mother tongue interference occurs when students apply linguistic rules, structures, or pronunciation patterns from their first language, L1, to the target language, L2. So in this case, it is English. So this issue particularly common in Malaysia where the students often grow up speaking Malay, Tamils, Mandarins or other local dialects. Okay, so the interference impact the grammar teaching in primary school in several ways. For instance, okay, teacher asks the students to write a sentence about their daily routines. So a student writes, she eat breakfast and go to schools. So when translating thoughts directly from Malay to English, so it results in the into the grammar error where she used she eat breakfast, which incorrect subject verb agreement, or go to school, which incorrect tense for an actions happened in the past. So it's supposed to be she eats breakfast because she is singular. So it has to add s. And uh, go to school supposedly went to school because it's already in the past. Okay. Next. Okay, the third issue, traditional teaching methodologies and lack of communicative approach. What is it? Traditional grammar teaching methodologies in primary school often focus on the rote memorizations and mechanical drills, emphasizing grammatical accuracy over practical language use. So this method typically present grammar rules in isolation, require students to complete exercise without engaging in meaningful communications or real-world situations. Students may struggle to apply their grammatical knowledge in real-world context, which lead to poor conversational skills despite knowing all the rules. For examples, a teacher uses a textbook focused approach to teach past simple tense. The student practice conjugating verbs, for examples, walk, play, and completing sentences like yesterday, I walked to school. However, when tasked with describing what they did over the weekend in a group activities, students hesitate and often revert to Malay or give fragmented responses like yesterday I eat nasi lemak, which supposedly eat need to be in past tense. So it's supposed to be yesterday I ate nasi lemak.
Okay, the fourth issues for in teaching English grammar, specifically in level of proficiency in primary school, is the teacher's proficiency levels itself. Okay, the proficiency and teaching skills of teachers significantly affect grammar instruction effectiveness. The importance of having explicit grammatical awareness among English language teachers has been highlighted by many scholars. For example, like Denham and Lobeck in 2002 has stated that various English education textbooks state that teachers must be aware of certain grammatical fundamentals in order to help students recognize patterns of errors. And Chakler and Hislam 2002 also mentioned that regardless of years of experience in English teaching, many teachers has also lacking in grammatical awareness or knowledge about the language. Okay, for example, a teacher may struggle to explain complex grammatical concepts like relative clauses, models, and also subject verb agreement due to his own limited proficiency and lack of confidence. Instead of using interactive methods like role play or contextual examples or digital learning, he might teach grammar rules in isolation and rely on rote memorization. And for instance, a teacher may instruct students to memorize he eats with S and they eat without S, without explaining why the verb changes with the subject. This approach leads to students developing only a superficial understanding of the grammar rules, unable to apply them in real life context, which in speaking or writing components. And also insufficient training opportunities also prevent teachers from learning and applying innovative strategies to address varying proficiency levels of students in the classroom. Okay, the last issues that we are going to discuss today is the inadequate time for grammar instruction. In many schools, particularly those in rural areas, the limited time allocated for English lessons reduces opportunities for meaningful grammar practice. This limited time must be shared among grammar, reading, writing, speaking, and also listening instruction. As a result, grammar often receives minimal attention and teachers rush through complex topics without ensuring students' understanding. This might affect weaker students more severely as they require additional time and support to grasp or see concepts. Okay, in Azman's paper, Azman has highlighted that English was taught for 210 to 2 to 40 minutes a week, while students at vernacular national type of schools only receive 60 to 90 minutes of English a week. And he also stated, not surprisingly, the limited amount of exposure to the language saw the majority of students in both the national schools as well as the vernacular schools from the rural areas performing poorly in the nationwide English language examination. He also stated less than 50% of the students who had completed 6 years of primary education were literate in the English language. Okay, less than 50%. So it is a major concern for us English teachers. Okay, for example, okay, in a Malaysian rural primary school, a year 5 teacher has only two 40-minute periods per week to cover reading, writing, listening, and also grammar. In one session, the teacher attempts to teach the simple past tense. Advanced students quickly understand the rule, but weaker students may struggle due to limited vocabulary and prior knowledge. As the teacher must move on to the next topic, the weaker students are left behind continuing continuing to make errors such as she go to the market yesterday instead of she went to the market yesterday.
Now let's move on to the solution part. We aware Malaysian students come from diverse background and they have different proficiency levels in English grammar. To address these challenges, Malaysia government has implemented a dual language policy DLP in schools where certain schools offer the option to teach certain subject in English such as science and mathematics. This policy helps to strengthen students' proficiency in English by integrating it across subjects, not just in language classes. This approach also helps to bridge the gap between students' native languages and English. In addition to DLP, code switching and translanguaging are increasingly being used in classroom. Teachers often switch between students' first languages Malay, Mandarin, and Tamil and English to explain complex grammar concepts. For example, a teacher might explain English articles by using both English and Malay to ensure students understand the function of articles in context. This approach helps makes the lesson more accessible to all students regardless of their linguistic background. In conclusion, Malaysia's diverse student population present challenges in learning English grammar. However, the dual language policy and the use of code switching and translanguaging are effective solutions to these challenges by integrating English across subjects and using students' first languages as tools for learning. We can ensure students have a better chance of mastering English language.
Thank you, Divya. So, for the issues of mother tongue language interference, we have three solutions. So, the first one is contrastive analysis. Teachers explicitly highlighting the differences between the grammatical structures of English and the student's first language, for example, Malay. By focusing on this contrast, teachers help students recognize areas where their native language might influence their English usage to enable them to avoid errors. Next, communicative practice. So the teachers should engage students in interactive activities such as role play, discussions, or tasks that require real world language use. So this kind of activity will help students to internalize grammar by putting it into context, making the grammar's rule more meaningful and memorable. Last one is remedial drills. Remedial drills are focused practice activities designed to target specific error patterns, such as verb tense and subject verb agreements. So, these drills help students to reinforce correct grammar use to ensure that they overcome common mistakes. So, next, for the third issue, we have two solutions that we can use to overcome this issue. The first one is school can adopt communicative language teaching approaches such as role play and group discussion, which encourage students to apply grammar in real world scenarios to improve both fluency and confidence. The second one is educational technology integrations. Platforms like Google Classroom, Edmodo, quizzes are used to provide teachers with resources and students with interactive grammar exercise, quizzes, and assignments.
Okay, the next solution for the issues that we have discussed earlier for teachers' proficiency levels is that our Ministry of Education has actually provided English language roadmap and ProApps professional English language teachers program, which is to provide training for teachers on innovative and effective methods of teaching grammar. These programs provide teachers with practical skills for addressing grammatical challenges in diverse classrooms. Next, we have three solutions for inadequate time for grammar instruction. The first solution is that we can increase time allocation for English lessons. For example, the policymakers can allocate additional instructional hours for English with a specific focus on grammar, extending lessons durations, or adding supplementary grammar sessions can help cater to varying proficiency levels. The next solution for this issue is that differentiated instruction for mixed proficiency levels are needed in the classroom. Teachers can design tiered activities to cater to different proficiency levels. Advanced students can work on complex grammar exercises, while weaker students can receive extra guidance from the teachers on foundational concepts. And the last solution for this issue is that teachers may incorporate songs, rhymes, and chant in order to teach them grammar rules. For example, like verb to be, prepositions, and many others. These rules are actually memorable, engaging, and helps reinforce understanding regularly without consuming too much class time.